Now, about 200 staff were told they could lose their jobs when the News of the World closed last week. A 90-day consultation is underway, but it's understood that some of the former workers have contacted solicitors and could sue over the job losses. Well, joining me now in the studio is Nick Lakeland, who's an employment partner for the law firm Silverman Sherliker, which has spoken with News of the World staff about action against their employer. Thank you very much indeed for coming in to talk to us. Now, just explain to us what your plan is. Are you going to be taking legal action against the company that sacked these workers?
If we're instructed to do so, yes, of course. Initially, given the fact there's a 90-day consultation, the aim is to assist those employees to get the best package they can. But if those packages are not satisfactory, then clearly one has to consider the alternative, which is litigation. Not that that's a happy thing to advise clients to do, because it's time-consuming, expensive, and yes, can be stressful, but clearly that's an option.
I mean, these are people who were sacked with very little notice, most of whom say that they weren't even employed by the company at the time that the hacking problems were occurring. Do you sense that they are going to want to press ahead with legal action?
I think there were two categories of employees here. I think there are those who are on the staff and are full-time employees and who have yet to be sacked, actually, because they're working out their notice under the consultation procedures. There are also a lot of freelancers who appear to have just worked for News of the World and no one else, who may or may not get any compensation, who nonetheless are probably employees, because they seem to be under the control of News of the World. So they're going to be in a worse position and perhaps potentially will want to pursue legal action. It's a question of every individual's choice and position. It really depends on people's prospects of alternative employment, where they want to go in life, and how their own personal situation is affected.
So you are looking at a series of individual actions or potential legal cases rather than one group case?
I suspect that it's going to look like perhaps a couple of groups and a series of individuals, remembering, of course, that you have senior people whose rights are perhaps somewhat greater because they have a greater degree of contractual notice, down to sort of much more junior people who perhaps have a better chance of employment. Stigma damages, which is something that's being talked about, is quite an unusual head of claim, and the more menial, not menial, that's perhaps an unfortunate word, the more junior employees are going to have probably a better chance of getting employment than more senior executives, who will be tainted. They will find that their reputations are tainted. They're going to have that bad smell follow them throughout their careers. You know, up until a month ago, being a News of the World journalist was a matter of pride. Today, you perhaps are somewhat more reticent to say I'm a News of the World journalist because of what's happened. You're associated with all these terrible deeds, really.
So those people would have a very strong case, in your view, for taking the company to court, for damaging their entire reputations, yes, let alone removing their jobs.
Absolutely. Their ability to get alternative employment in the future is going to be very, very severely hampered. I mean, who is going to employ Rebecca Brooks going forward? I don't know. She's going to be in a difficult place. One
might be surprised if she took her own former company and her own former close associates to court, but clearly others are looking at it. How serious could this be for News International? Presumably, if you do have large numbers who do press ahead with legal action, that could be quite expensive for the company.
It could be, yes.
And damaging.
Absolutely, it could be very damaging for the company. It is noticeable that News International have actually sought to tell employees that they will be looking for alternative employment for them within other titles. So to that extent, I think they're trying to mitigate their position as much as they can. But this is just the beginning of this game, if I can put it that way. I think it's all going to pan out. We're going to see where we go with this in about 2 or 3 months' time, perhaps when this is less newsworthy. That's the point when I think employees are going to find themselves having to make hard decisions as to whether or not they take a package, whether they sue, or what the career choice is going to be in the future.
OK, Nick Lakeland, thank you very much indeed for talking to us.
Thank you.